If you want to be real successful, like, you got to have dedication. You got to take chances, have discipline, and sacrifices, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. When you're growing and you want to make a name of yourself, you got to take some chances. You got to take some challenges that other people don't want. And if you're confident in your abilities, then it'll show through.
At the end of the day, you are providing value to everyone, and you're doing it for the right reasons, and that is to just provide as much value to the audience and help other people do what you want to do.
And to document a cool story, too. It's going to help people believe they can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Why not? You know? Okay, so here we are, episode 9. Man, started from the bottom, and literally because we started from the bottom. Because when we graduated, we didn't have anything. We were pretty poor, but that's how it should be. So we earned it all. So we have a special guest today, brother from another mother, Raphael. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. And this is not my usual attire.
Look at that tracksuit.
Definitely, I've seen every video that you've done. There's only one way to show up in this podcast, so trying to represent.
Representing well, because, man, I came out the other day. Peep this new one, though. So I come out. It's like the reflective one. It's actually my favorite one ever. I don't even have the logo on yet. It's brand new. So I come out. We're getting ready to go bowling and whatever, and Ralph's over working. I don't even see him, and I look at him like, what the hell? Where did you get that? Holy hell. Zavi picked that shit out, man. Zavi's got swag. I like it, Zavi. Shout out Zavi, Angela, Axel. You'll be seeing this at some point. The tracksuit is sick. I like it. We need to get the logo on that for real. So we met at Columbus State one day right before a physics test. Kobina, shout out. Hopefully you're still alive. That was a long time ago. He'd be in the 70s, I'm sure. Maybe 80s. But anyway, we were like right before the test trying to figure stuff out. We're like, oh my God. I don't know. We actually did okay on that test, pretty sure. And we're like, hey man, let's start studying or whatever. We started talking about math. I'm like, man, I got this really good math teacher. It's my second quarter with him. He's phenomenal. My math teacher sucks, Ralph says. I'm like, dude, you need to switch that. And he did. And then we ended up getting an A. It was great. So that was like the beginning. And then he's like, yeah, I'm in civil engineering doing civil engineering at Ohio State. Like, I'm going into that. I'm like, get the hell out of here. What? That's what I'm doing. Did we just become best friends? Yep. And the rest is history. So we went through civil engineering, had a freaking ball, did everything we needed to. I was like scared at first, but after we got in the major, we made friends. It wasn't that bad, It wasn't easy. There were days that were not easy, and we had to study our ass off. But anyway, graduated 05. You started working for CMAX. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, after we graduated civil engineering, I went to the University of Maryland, did my master's, and then after that, like within a month, CMAX hired me. CMAX is a big multinational company specializing mostly in building materials, concrete, cement, aggregates, etc. It's been now 18 years with them. I've only worked for them.
Crazy.
5 different countries, 3 different continents. Currently in the UAE, representing there.
Right.
But it's been a heck of a journey.
And so I don't think we even said this, but let me see. So we go through civil engineering. Towards the end, I start dating Elizabeth, and I'm like, dude, I think this is the one, man. And I told the story yesterday, but I'll tell it again. So I told her, yeah, we're going to get married. The first time we decided to be together, we're like, yeah, we're going to be together. I'm like, all right, we're going to get married. Then I went home, I'm like, whoa, what did I say? I was like, what the hell? I was stressing out about it. But if you know, you know. So I told her, and we got married. Hasn't worked out. So Ralph ended up being my best man. Right before the wedding, we're driving around drinking beers, having a great time. And then right before I'm getting ready to walk down the aisle, I'm getting nervous. I'm like, dude, are you my best man? Are you my best man? He's like, yeah, man, what? I was like, go get me 2 beers. I was nervous as hell. So I drank those 2 beers, kind of even things out. Mass is going great. Everything's fine. All of a sudden, I got to pee, man. Bad. And the mass is 45 minutes to an hour long. So I'm sitting up there. I'm like, I'm looking back. I'm like, dude, I'm going to pass out, man. So I finally made it through that. It was great. We got married. Great wedding. Ralph got lucky on a speech because we kind of forgot about it until the end. Like, no one even cared or was paying attention. He's like, what'd you say? It was like real simple and sweet.
I think people cared. It was just everybody was drunk.
No, we should have did it right at the freaking beginning.
Wait, at the end of the mass? At the end of the...
No, it was like towards the end of the party. It's like, we like jibbed it up.
Nobody was... Yeah.
No one was even even,
No.
no one cared nearly as much. I was like, well, okay. So kind of remember what you said. Do you remember what you said? No. It was pretty simple, short to this,
It's what, 25 years now?
20 years in March.
20 years in March.
20 years in March. Yeah.
Crazy. I'm only
Yep.
19. Kind of crazy.
Yep. You were in the tummy. So we had to do. So
Wait, was it at his wedding that Grandpa sprayed stuff in my eyes? My
oh
cologne?
yeah. So
Was that the flower guy? I was bringing the flowers up or
Yeah.
something.
No, not the flower. You were the ring bearer.
Ring bearer, yeah.
So continuing the story here, he ends up marrying Elizabeth's sister, which who can say that? We're best friends. We're married sisters. I mean, that is legendary. We're all still together. We're raising families together. I mean, it's like we couldn't have scripted any better. And like each year it just gets better because we're more successful. Our families are successful, and it's great. I ended up being his best man. A lot of stories of that one, but I was so nervous again about doing this damn speech. So I'm like pounding drinks at the bar. I'm like, man, I don't know. God, I got to the point where I'm like, okay.
And I had the right setup because I was going to expose you in front of everybody.
Yeah, man. And
at the very beginning. So
yeah,
I
very
knew that-
beginning. It was like bright lights. There's tons of people. I'm like, oh shit.
And at that time, you hated public speaking.
Oh my God. It was brutal. So finally, I'm like, I'm even. Like, it's not bothering me. I'm like, okay, I'm good. So the one that kind of jibs it up is Elizabeth. So I'm like saying my part. We're kind of going back and forth. And she's like, it just makes me sad. And that's all she had. I'm like, okay, I'll take over from here. It's fine. And I said my thing. We partied for about half hour and I went to bed.
What?
Yeah, he passed out like at 10.
What the heck?
I didn't. Did I just ghost you? Or did I just?
Yeah, you just went to your room. The ceremony, the party was till like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
He was done like at 10.
Everyone got crushed too.
That's the complete opposite. I would
So,
think.
Frank, your dad, and my dad, apparently, towards the end of the night, were all hugging and going in circles and dancing and like covered in sweat.
Dude. And we had the priest. The father was there. He did the ceremony. So he went to the party because it was at a resort.
Yeah.
And during the dancing, our parents and Frank, they picked up the father and they lifted him up. So there's pictures of that.
Oh
It's
my
hilarious.
God.
Got loose.
Was the priest drinking or
No, he
No?
wasn't. But he was just because he's part of the family
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But yeah, that was hilarious.
Let's not forget about the shoe game. So I got the OSU dunks, which that's a different story. OSU, we just f***ing lost to Michigan again yesterday.
Let's leave that for the end because
Let's leave it for the end.
Yeah,
It's a moment of silence. Oh God, it was just awful. But anyway, everything's been great on this trip except for that. That fucking sucked. Anyway,
Still had a good time though. Good day.
it was
Not
fun.
really.
It was just miserable watching. It was like, anyway, we'll get
Yeah,
to
that
that.
was terrible.
But look at Ralph's shoe game. He's got the pandas on, right?
Yeah.
Pandas on. It's a nice little shoe game over there. Lil Brian's got the sweatshirt that he likes to wear now, which okay, it's good. He's got his own style. All right, so
I'm confident with my own shit.
yep. So we met at Columbus State. We get into Ohio State, and we have a great time there. Many stories about that. My God. Shout out to Randino. Saw him a couple times on this trip. He's like 19 feet tall.
7'3".
We call him Big Bird. Big Bird, Randino, and then Birdie, Funk, Jake,
Zooby-Doo.
Zooby-Doo, Najette. Yeah, Ralph.
What's the
Ralph had a
backstory
crush on-
behind that?
crush on
It's just
Najette.
he acted like he was a male model. And it was like,
He looked like a male model.
Yeah.
So he was like tall. He's like a good looking dude, and he's like clean shaven. He wore these like outfits, just like preppy. Someone's like, he looks like Zoolander,
we called him Zoolander.
and then we're
called
like,
him
oh! So we started calling him Zooby Dooby Doo, and he loved it. Nah, it was all love. It was all love in that.
That's hilarious.
But we made friends with everyone. We didn't get the best grades. I didn't get the best grades for sure. But if you look at the average millionaire's GPA, it's a 2.0. So I'm good with that. But yeah, one day I'm talking to Ralph. I'm like, dude, we're going to make more money than anyone in here. And he's like, we'll see. Yeah, maybe. It's trending that direction. So we just got to keep working hard. But all right, let's keep it going here. So let's talk more about CMEX. So, you had 5 different countries, and each time tell them about, the mission. Basically, you're sent somewhere where it's not going so well, and then you're going to turn it around, and that's not easy. Not easy.
And explain kind of like how you do it.
Yeah.
Try to
Okay.
a little bit.
So basically, yeah, it's turnaround situations, companies in distress. A lot of times there's issues with people. I think that's the common denominator. The markets are the markets. The markets are cyclical. You're going to have ups and downs, but it's how you deal with those situations. So they forced me into a position at the age of 28 when I became a GM for Jamaica. So I basically was the CEO for that company. And I say forced, not because I didn't want to. Of course I wanted it, but it was just like, am I ready for this? You want these challenges, but when you get it, you're like, uh-oh.
Scared.
What's going to happen?
It's natural. Uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. So in Jamaica, we acquired a bigger company and they had some assets in Jamaica. So that separate company, they put me there basically to divest it. They were like, okay, this company is not making much money. The return on capital is not good. And the company was generating about $1.3 million on average in profit the last 4 years in a row. In my first year, I did $4.7 million. And then they were like, whoa, maybe we don't want to sell this. And yeah, that definitely put me on the map. And by the time I left Jamaica, we were doing above $6 million in profit. So,
which was how many years later?
I lasted 4 years there. So roughly I did something like 20 to $22 million in profit during my 4 years. The previous 4 years, they did a little bit less than 5 million.
So 4x.
Yeah.
A 4x. Wow. Okay, so what's if you could say 5 key things that you did to increase the profit by like 4, what would it be?
Yeah, so going back to the different challenges and focusing on Jamaica, the number one thing is people. You always have an issue. When companies are not doing good, it's the human
people.
capital. It's the most important thing, right? And I think companies sometimes forget about that. They think their playbook or their policies or their assets is what does the trick, and it's not. You can give a Ferrari to a bad driver. He's not going to win a race,
right.
So at the end of the day, I had to restructure the management team. We had to look at efficiency issues that we had, with the operations. We had a quarry that was rented out to somebody else, and then we were buying the material from that quarry. So I was like, I'm going to take over it. So we bought the mining equipment for it. We had a contract that was with one of our top customers where the price of the product we were selling was very, very low. I'm like, why is it so low? So I calculated, I'm like, I'm the only one that has this product in this country. So I did an analysis of all the destinations where that product can be imported from, and I calculated that cost. So when I knew that, I was like, okay, you have a 40% increase on your price. And they're like, what? No, you can't do this. And I'm like, okay, then import it. And they couldn't do it cheaper than the price I gave them. Oh, wow. So it's about knowing your business, right? And knowing the market. So the right people, number one, a lot of efficiency issues, the situation with outsourcing. Sometimes companies outsource things that they shouldn't. And then obviously the price situation and knowing your market. So once those 4 things were in play, then I look into business development. So what other revenue streams can I create? So I started with only aggregates and lime products, like quick lime and hydrated lime. And then I branched out into ready mix because I already have my own aggregates. I branched out into infrastructure. So we were doing roads, asphalt roads and concrete roads.
Install?
So, we will hire companies to do that part for us. I mean, we're more building materials,
right?
But there was an opportunity there that
so you were going after it as like the GC or what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Eventually, Cemex had to pull out of those companies because we were getting just too big with all the revenue stream. But those were, I would say, the 5 things that really transformed the company.
I didn't know you were doing that.
And then a year later, after I left, Cemex acquired the biggest cement company in Jamaica, and now it's probably number 1 or number 2 in terms of profitability worldwide. It was a great story.
So they became fully integrated, doing everything themselves, and then that's saving a lot of overhead.
Jamaica's a great country. If you haven't been to, it's great, worth visiting and getting to know it.
Yeah, Ganja over there. Okay, so that's Jamaica. That's the first one. And then where'd you go from there?
From there, I went to Haiti. So Haiti was a tough one for my family. Angela was pregnant with Zavi.
I remember this time, and I'm thinking, oh my God, man.
Yeah, I remember it too.
Yeah, this is a big sacrifice.
Yeah, big sacrifice. I'm like, ooh.
So I was living 10 days in Haiti, 4 days base in Miami and doing that for 4 years in a very, very tough situation for the
Bulletproof
country.
cars, it's very dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And so for the audience, I mean, these are the kind of sacrifices you have to make. Like, if you want to be real successful, like, you got to have dedication. You got to take chances. You got to, have discipline and sacrifices, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, today I wouldn't do it, right? But when you're growing and you want to make a name of yourself, you got to take some chances. You got to take some challenges that other people don't want. And if you're confident in your abilities, then it'll show through. At the end of my 4 years, we end up breaking sales records, revenue records, working capital records, free cash flow records.
Yeah.
So
I wonder how much profit that made.
Well, you have to understand, Haiti is the poorest country in the Americas. So I forget, the average salary was like, at that time, was like $30 a month for blue collar workers.
Yeah, it's all relative to where you are, right?
If a cement bag is $5, right?
Yeah.
So there's a big incentive to do things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough on the people, but I will tell you this: they're the hardest working people that I've known,
really,
across the world. And I've worked with a lot of different nationalities because they want to save. Unemployment is so high there that they want to take care of their job.
Right.
Our issue was more on the safety side. They would take a lot of risk, unnecessary risk, and put themselves in jeopardy just because they want to go all the way and do the job. So we're like, no. If it's unsafe, you can't do this, X and Y. Safety is the most important thing for us. But anyways, it's an experience that I would not live through it again, but I am very blessed to have done it. Like, I learned so much. I don't take as many things for granted.
Yeah, man, those tough times, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
The tough challenges in life, that's what makes you a man and makes you stronger, makes you appreciate, and then also makes you believe you can do anything. Because if you can get through those tough times, then everything else seems easier.
And that's exactly what it is. So nowadays, when people come with problems, I'm like, that's cake.
Yeah, that's cake.
We just got to solve it. And I had this teacher at Ohio State when I took a couple of psychology classes, and he said, like, if you have a problem and you can't solve it, then why do you stress? And if you have another problem and you can solve it, then why do you stress? Because at the end of the day, either it has a solution, so go do it. And if it doesn't have a solution, then why are you complaining? Like, you need to move a different direction, right?
Yeah.
So I really took that to heart, throughout my career. Otherwise, I would have gone crazy.
Where'd they have you go next?
So they sent me to Egypt as commercial and supply chain vice president. That's a totally different situation there. It's actually a very safe country, but it was right before the pandemic. It was 2019, and the market was at overcapacity. So the military decided to put 16 to 17 million tons of extra cement capacity into a country already had too much capacity. So demand was at like 51 million tons. Capacity was about 90 million tons. So everybody's killing each other over market share. Prices are very low. Profitability drops tremendously. And Cemex had lost a lot of market share before I got there. So when I arrived, it was at 230,000 tons per month of sales. When I left it at over 400,000 tons per month of sale. And that was during the pandemic. So that's why my assignment was only 2 years long, because we were almost like basically at capacity. And then the UAE opportunity presented itself, so they kind of pushed me quicker than it should.
Yeah, I remember that. So if the demand is not high and the sales are where they are, how did you get the sales higher?
So a couple different strategies. So number one, I realized that the Army was doing their sales through big traders, so wholesales. And when you see that, it's very easy to pick them apart because you can go to the hardware stores directly and you can start. It's a lot of work. It's a different structure of sales. But instead of us having, let's say, 3 big customers, we will have 1,000 small customers.
You just went out door knocking and started hustling, or what?
Well, customers that had done business with us before, and we just recuperated those.
Yeah.
And then in Lower Egypt, so meaning like Cairo, Giza, Alexandria, that area. Lower Egypt and Egypt is actually the north side of the country because the Nile River goes in opposite direction. So they call Lower Egypt the north and Upper Egypt the south. So ends up happening there is we basically lost all our presence there, and we did a strategy based on marginal contribution because my fixed cost was already covered, with the volumes I already had. So we became very aggressive to target back some of the market markets that we had lost. And we regained all of those. Also through product diversification. So we launched an eco cement. So it's blended cements, which reduced the CO2 footprint of the product. We were the only ones with that at that time. At the end of the day, I wouldn't say the customer would pay a premium for it, but if it's going to be at the same cost and they're going to get that plus, it's like, why not? You know, that
it's
helps
incentive,
them.
incentive to buy, yeah.
Correct. And then we launched another product, which was more like a mortar. And I noticed that a lot of the country was using the general OPC, the structural cement for mortar. When you don't need that high level of quality, we created another product line for that need. And all of a sudden we were selling 40 to 50,000 tons a month. I launched that product on my birthday in October. And I told all the retailers, I was like, hey, as a birthday gift, you guys need to start buying the new product. And they bought 20,000 the first month.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, it was a great birthday. Yeah, the Egyptians are very much about like family and supporting one another, and you got to support them as well. So it was a very good collaboration. And also, I mean, we're like top of the line when it comes to service and just being people persons and understanding them. So yeah, we turned it around through, micro strategies, looking at marginal contributions where we can recover and be a little bit more aggressive, eco products and other products so we reshaped the kind of the portfolio and how we manage the footprint. And at the end of the day, a lot of market intelligence. You need to know the markets very well in all the little cities. So I used to visit 2 cities per month in the country. It's a huge country. Our plant was 400 kilometers away from the main market.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a good turnaround.
So that was 2 years, and then UAE came up. So then they presented that, and you're like, let's do that. I mean, that's a cool place to live anyway. So
how do they even present that to you?
Well, a situation happened in the UAE. They're going through distress. It's part of the same cluster of countries, right? So we have a region called EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, Asia, and Africa. So it's within the cluster. So HR will look at the people from the region and who can take on this challenge. So nominated me as one of the candidates, although I hadn't completed my full assignment. And the 2 presidents, the cluster president and the regional president, they kind of endorsed me, and I ended up getting that position.
Did you have to interview, or did?
Yeah. So how does?
Yeah, you go through the whole process. Like anybody else.
How does the process for something like that? Like, how does that work?
It's purely internal, so they'll shortlist the people that they believe that can take on this challenge and do it, and then you go through a regular interview process. I mean, everybody's already well known, in the company. So it's more about what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and what is the task at hand, and do you fit what we need?
And did you have to have some kind of plan, like talk about it, or what, or not really, or just kind of?
No, it's more about like,
can you handle it?
Yeah, and then them picking your brain on the issues. They'll tell you some of the issues that the company has, and what would you do and stuff like that. But it's not like you have to do a presentation and a business case or anything like that.
Okay, so you've been there how long now?
4 years.
So 4 years. So this is one of the longer ones.
Yeah.
And one of the most successful ones too, right?
This my favorite challenge so far today, because it had a little bit of everything, right? We have serious HR issues within the company. I arrived during COVID, November 2020.
COVID threw a wrench in everything. COVID was something that this country's never seen for like 80 years. It was crazy. That's why no one understood what the hell was going on, because it's just out of this world. No one's ever seen anything like it. People, like, this is going to blow over. Well, it didn't blow over. In fact, it got 10 times worse than what anyone could have imagined. Unbelievable. But go ahead.
But yeah, the leadership is just amazing. The leadership in the UAE, and as a country, they handled it very well. So they had the quick lockdown. It was like 2-3 months. I don't think it even reached 3 months. And then they had a vaccination campaign. Everybody had to get vaccinated. Everything is digital there. So you'll have an app, and if you wanted to go to the mall, you had to show the app. It will tell you if you have a green line or red. If you're red, you can't go in. So you couldn't be in public spaces if you weren't vaccinated. So the country was like the first one to get like 91% of the whole country was vaccinated. They opened up for business. Everything started skyrocketing. Real estate, everything boomed.
Yeah.
So they took a short-term hit for massive gains.
Yeah.
So they handled it exceptionally well.
Okay, so you talked about the challenges there. It was a little bit of everything. Let's get into like revenue and profit and stuff. When you first got there to now.
Yeah, when I got there, our revenue was roughly in the low 70s, $70 million. Now this year we'll probably be closer to 143, 144 million. So
double.
Yeah, we
Double
doubled it.
revenue.
That's double.
We did a lot of stuff. I mean, in these 4 years, I opened up a new business line, chemical plant. So that one is compounding like 30 to 40% annually.
Wow.
You know, so that business is doing really good. We're going to do about 9 million liters of chemicals this year. Cement, we're doing now 1.3 million tons of cement. And in ready mix, we're doing about 1.2 million cubic meters. So it's a big size operation when you look at all the ingredients. But when I got there, it wasn't that way. It was primarily ready mix focus. So we had to, do some changes in the cement line.
Yeah.
We doubled everything there, So right now we're breaking records. Just now, for last month, we did 130,000 cubic meters, which is a record for us.
Record for
the UAE. Yeah. We only have the numbers up to 2012, so it's the highest since 2012. So
Okay.
it's a big achievement, And profitability, working capital, free cash flow, everything, all of that was in the negative. They were actually considering shutting it down. It was like almost a bankrupt company. And nowadays, everything is green and it's flying. We had 100% EBITDA growth this year. We're going to have probably 50% EBITDA growth next year. So yeah, it's going very, very good.
And the metrics that you showed me and the charts and everything, so you're number one in the world in a lot of categories. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we talked about the human element, right? So we had issues there. We had to restructure the team. Actually, there it was like 80% of the people I had to change.
So
80%?
Of my executive team, not the company.
Okay. So
And then
what's the executive team consist of? So that's obviously you, the COO, and who else?
Yeah. I have almost 11 reports, right? So in the cement division, you're going to have your chief commercial officer and your chief operating officer. In your cement division, you're going to have the same. So ready mix and cement, they both have, your
So
the people
ready
in
mix
charge.
and cement.
They're two different business
dimensions?
lines, yeah.
And then the chemical.
And then the chemical is
Plant
a
you
different
opened, right?
business. Yeah, it's three different companies.
Three different companies, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just the head, I'm the CEO for the three companies.
Looking
So-
at it, bird's eye view.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I have to make sure that, there's synergy between those operations. And then you have, your finance, you have your procurement, you have the HR, you have
Right.
health and safety. I mean, I have a lot of reports.
And how many people under you?
Total, a little bit more than 650.
650. That's a lot. And cement and ready mix go hand in hand.
Yeah. Cement is the powder, so it's the binder.
Part of ready mix, right?
Yeah, so ready mix is the cement plus the aggregates plus the water and the chemicals.
Right.
And that's how you get the concrete.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, restructure the team. We got the right experts in place. And then we had to look at efficiency, similar to kind of Jamaica, right? I think it's kind of like my playbook of what I do. And then in efficiency, we had a lot of issues that were not going the right way. So I actually shut down operations when I got there. I'm like, for our size and the market, you need to tailor it, right? Otherwise, your sales over fixed costs is not going to be very good. So I shut down some facilities that have never been shut down. It was like I had to fire like 100 people my first year. Yeah, because I had to restructure the company.
Right.
It was not.
So how'd you know who to fire, and how would you do that? How do you go about that?
Well, we get the experts of each department in place. We know how much numbers-wise, financially, what we need to reduce. And then we go, okay, where do we have to do this? And then you have KPIs, which is like how many people in HR per head count. So, I should have one HR representative for every 100 employees. So if I have 400 employees, I should have 4 people in HR. If I have 600, I should have 6. So you start looking at these KPIs and see, okay, wow, this is out of whack here, this is out of whack here. And you tell the director of the area and you say, sorry, you got to let go of 5, right?
Yeah.
And then they have to look at the performance.
Each team is letting go of their people, not you specifically, or what? Unless it's executives?
Yeah. I only let go of my direct reports,
Yeah.
So down the chain, everybody has to have their own responsibility. But yeah, you restructure the company. It sucks, right? You let go of some people that are very good, and it's just the situation at hand. But I can tell you, all the people that we let go that were good, they're back in the company, right? Because now we have more headcount than what I arrived in the country.
Right.
Because we grew.
Right.
So you can bring people back if
So
they're
I
good.
bring people back, and we're a very strong name brand. So yeah, we had the restructuring, and then when in the efficiency part, from the headcount, we looked at that and we fixed that, and then from the asset part, we fixed that by we cut some operations, and then we looked at the KPIs of productivity of our trucks, our pumps, our plants, and we did tailored plans on that. So like, where are we losing productivity, and what's the action plan for that? And then we started taking actions. A lot of predictive and preventive maintenance. Maintenance affects it a lot, so you have to have a very good workshops, and we have 3 workshops. So yeah, we started working on that, and now we're number 1 in the world in truck productivity, pump productivity, and plant productivity. And when you look at the mill itself, we're the number 1 mill in terms of efficiency in the world. The performance is off the charts, and now that's why we're reaping all the rewards, right?
Yeah.
The people are happy. We promoted tons of executives. The country is booming right now too. I see the next 3 to 5 year very, very bullish. They're going to build the largest airport in the world.
Wow.
Al Maktoum Airport.
Of course they are.
They're going to start building.
It's always the best in the world, or the biggest in the world, right?
So do you think it'll beat Qatar's airport? I mean, they're building a brand new one, so I mean.
Yeah, so I think Qatar's one of the best airports in the world. Luxury,
Not the biggest,
comfort. It's not the biggest.
Yeah.
They're going to become the biggest, and they're going to build Jebel Ali Palm, which you guys, when you went to Dubai, you saw Jumeirah Palm, which is pretty big. Jebel Ali Palm is twice as big as Jumeirah Palm. So it's another palm.
Wow.
So they're going to do that.
The palm, is that the fingers?
Yeah, it's not fingers. It's branches.
What I skydived over times 2, right?
Yeah, times 2. You
Wow.
can actually see it on Google Maps, like you can see the size.
Yeah.
So they have all these mega projects coming into the pipeline, and the market is already doing good.
Wow.
And then you have interest rates dropping, right?
Hopefully.
So that stimulates the market.
Right.
Because you can borrow cheaper, and then for consumers as well. And
I'm not so sure about the rates, because if they drop them too low, inflation's, it's going to be a problem again. So I see them going down just a little bit. We got a little spoiled during COVID and that time, because they were at record lows for the last 100 years. These rates we're at now are not horrible. If you look at the history, they're really not that bad, but everyone just got spoiled. So they're like, wow, let's get it back in the 3s. I don't know how much lower they're going to go, or if it's even healthy to go that low. I don't know.
well, inflation is where the Fed wants it to be, right? So it's in between the low 2s, 2 to 2.5. As long as it's there, they're going to cut rates, right? So I do see probably 75 to 100 basis points cut next year in interest rates, right? It's never going to go to the 0s or the 1s or anything like that, like the crazy times.
Right. So we're at what? We're like 6.875, 6.85 right now, because I'm doing a loan right now for the apartments, but 6.85. So if you cut it 100 basis points, that means it'd be 5.85, just for the viewers here. So that's 1 point, basically, 1 percentage point.
But that stimulates, right?
Right.
So cutting the interest rate stimulates. We see more demand, that's going to be coming up the pipeline.
For sure.
So the
it's going to make people like us want to go do projects.
Yeah.
It's going to make it more profitable.
And the same thing happens here in the U.S., where you have housing shortage, right?
Right. And there is, yeah. There's housing shortage,
So-
for sure.
And then you're going to have more demand because interest rates are dropping.
Right.
So people have been on the sidelines, during the last couple of years, right?
Yep.
The last 2 years. So I don't know. It's a very bullish scenario for business.
Right. Okay. I mean, big things coming for you. And the next step, you're not real sure. You should know maybe the next year what's going on with you, what that looks like. But very bullish. And then we'll see what happens, where the next stop is for you. But I know you're going to kill it. So that's great.
One of the things that we were talking off air was you're interested in starting up, your coaching programs, and
Right.
you're getting people approaching you, asking for these products. And I think that's super valuable. I believe a lot in coaching. I actually paid my own coaching for myself, not the company.
Right.
It cost me $30,000.
Which I just learned this. I just learned this
Yeah.
yesterday, and I paid $10,000 to learn about Flex, which we're going to do a project this year. And I learned a lot about it. We had pretty good ideas about it, but when you learn firsthand from people that are doing it, it's like that's expedites your growth way faster, and your return is infinite. It's infinite return if you do it right and you're paying the right people. Like, you can't get better value out of that.
The best investment is on yourself.
Constant self-development. Like if you want to be big and you want to do big things, you have to always self-develop. I'm always watching YouTube. I'm always trying to learn about all these different things. When I'm working out, it makes working out go like that. Self-development, coaching groups, platforms, meetups. It's a win-win, you know? It just helps you meet new people and finds deals, subcontractors, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and shout out to Jim Hodling. He was my coach, ex-Special Forces, amazing guy. My recommendation will always be like find the right coach, you know, find the right people for you. It's worth it. A lot of people don't want to pay, you know, for these type of things, but it helped me so much because I hired him 2 years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago, like right in the thick of things where things were crisis, you know, I was going through COVID, then the Ukraine war where supply chain was being disrupted, then the Houthis are shooting at the vessels are crossing the canal. So, you know, shipments have to, instead of going through the Suez Canal, you know, they have to go all the way down through South Africa. So it inflates costs globally. I think, you know, a lot of people don't understand how global inflation works. They're in a bubble and they look at their own communities. But these type of disruptions, they make products coming into the U.S. a lot more expensive. And for us, sending cement becomes a lot more expensive. So all of these disruptions really, they take a toll on the economy. And we were going through, I was going in the thick of things through the crisis. So I'm like, I think this is the right time for me to get a coach and just let him pick my brain and see where I can improve, what can I do better. And it really helped me out.
So this coaching, how long did it last?
I think almost 6 months.
And so that was the program, like 6 months?
Yeah.
And then how often did you talk to him?
Weekly.
One time a week? How long?
1 hour.
That seems expensive, but like we said, it's worth every penny.
To me, expensive is when you pay for something and you don't get the value. Right. So you can say a Ferrari is expensive versus a Corolla because of its price.
Right.
But is it really expensive?
Right.
When you're getting the performance out of that car than the performance you're getting from the Corolla. It's about value. Right.
And the value it holds too. I mean, because that Ferrari holds its value. Yeah.
So how did that program work? So you paid for it and like you have the once a week calls with him for an hour. And what else was involved, and what did you have to do on your own? And was it like a slideshow you looked at, or like how does it work?
First of all, he does assessments, right? So to get to know you and how you think and what are your tendencies, and those assessments, they were scary. Like they had Raphael like on the screen,
exposing you.
Yeah, like, and I agreed with almost everything that was on there. And then with the things that you don't agree, you end up agreeing because you're like, no, I can't be like that. You have your own self-image, and he's like, no, don't be defensive. Look, this, and this, and how would you handle this situation? And then real life case scenarios, right? And then you realize, oh man, I really have to tweak this, and I have to do this, you know, to take it to another level. You want to be a transcendent leader. So that the analysis, getting to know you, and then that way he's personally giving you advice based on who you are. And we will talk about the situations that are happening in the company, and he will ask me, okay, so how you plan on dealing with this? What are you going to do with this? And then after hearing me, he's like, well, why not this? And why not tweak it like this? Or why not one of the issues that I have is as a leader, I've been working on it, right? But as a leader, I tend to make my decisions, and, I'm very confident in my decision making and where we're heading. And I need to let my leaders below sometimes just them take the lead and assign that. So I've been doing that a lot more over the last 2 years. Before it was more like, okay, I do a lot of problem solving. I'm very confident in my problem solving ability. So I'll be like, okay, this is the way we gotta go. Let's go this way. Instead of, okay, guys, what do you think?
What do you think? And then, so you're becoming a coach's coach and letting your coaches coach.
Yeah, now I'm more of a coach than just somebody that's trying to streamline an operation.
Because some head coaches like to, call the plays and like to be real involved in every little thing. And some coaches let their coaches coach,
Correct.
And they're just the CEO. So that's kind of...
I used to be that way. Now I'm not. So I don't micromanage anything. If there's a problem, then I do like a zoom in, and I'll start get involved with those teams, and I'll help them solve the problem, but then I zoom out. I come out of it. You don't want to be there too long because it ruffles feathers, and you're not letting them breathe, and it kills creativity. I mean, we were discussing about creativity. I like people to try new things. I create an environment where they can fail, right? And they must learn from their failures, but at least that helps us innovate. And that's been one of the successes in the UAE. We launched our green line of products in 2021. We had 0 sales. in 2021. Today, 92% of our sales are green products.
Wow.
Right? And we're the leaders in the UAE when it comes to green. Like the ministry is having conversations with me. You know, when COP28 was happening, we were very involved with COP28 and the champions. The municipalities are also looking at how they can replicate what we're doing for the industry. So we've taken a big leadership role, and we're known. Like we have competitors. Like our line of product is called Virtua. We have customers asking other competitors, "Hey, do you have Virtua?" Like it's becoming like Gillette. Instead of saying razor, you say, "Can I get a Gillette?"
Right.
Or instead of a diaper, you say Pampers. You know?
Right.
So we have managed to create that name brand for our eco line of products in the UAE, and that has really helped our sales.
Wow.
So speaking about coaching in groups, do you have any plans to do any more of that coming up here? Like anyone else you're thinking of, or that interests you as far as coaching you, or any other groups you're looking at joining to help you grow?
Yeah, for myself, I have to wait until what's the next challenge, right? And based on the needs of that challenge, if I see that I need some help in a certain aspect, then I will look at that. But at this moment, I don't really know what the future is. I just know that the future of the UAE is very bright, right? And the company is
looking good.
Yeah.
Good.
So for me, if I'm going to be doing coaching groups, platforms, boot camps, meetups, all that kind of thing, I need to start getting involved in other people's, right? So when I put these on, how it works is you put these on and people will come speak for you, and then you'll go speak for them as well, and you don't charge anything. And you're not like poaching their people. So you got to keep it real with everyone and that kind of thing. But so for me, I have 3 projects we're going to be doing this year, which are huge. 24 new apartments. We've been working on it forever. The hardest part of development is getting it all approved. And then once you can get to the construction part, like that's the easy part. Well, we know how to do that. The hard part is getting it approved. So we have that approved. Financing's almost ready. We are financing basically $2.6 million. We're going to have to put in $600,000. So anyone out there, you have to put money in the real estate, and you need money. So watch these people and say, "Oh, no money down. You don't need money." Like that might be true in some cases, but learn how to make more money. Learn how to save your money, and then stack money to the side. And then when the right deal comes across, be ready to invest. That's why these big projects, a lot of people can't do them because you have to put money in, and that's us building it at cost too. So just for the audience, we're putting in $600,000. We're not charging any profit or anything until the end when we start getting cash flow. We put money in. We don't take any profit for the construction, for the architect fees. We'll pay a civil engineer, all that, and we do it at cost. And then at the end of the day, we keep the mortgage as low as we can. It's going to cash flow. And then maybe at some point we might take a little money back out. Maybe. We really don't though. We like to keep those mortgages, low, and the amortization low, like 15 years, because 15 years goes like that. And then once they're paid for, you're set. So anyway, so we got the 24 new apartments. We got the 70,000 square foot of office warehouse. That's the one Hamza helped me out with. They have a great platform, by the way. That was good to join. So that was 10,000. I will get that back 1,000,000 times, So once it's built and it's cash flowing, it's forever. And then we have this office building. We're going to triple the size and make it 12,600 square feet, 7-year lease. We're going to make 3 entrances for future in case they opt out. Gives flexibility there, because it's a pretty big office building in our town, and that's going to do very well. So those are the 3 bigger projects. And then I have 394 Brentwood that's listed right now in Licking Valley. That was a tough one. It was on a hill. I've done videos on that. It's like everything was more expensive. That's how you learn though, right? Deer Run's coming soon. That's going to be in the 545 range in Newark. Let's see, the Crickersville Flip just listed at 305. That was built in 1841. I learned a lot on that. We had to jack up the floor, do all kinds of stuff, basically down to the studs. It looks brand new, and he was a big part of that. So learning young, he's learning a lot. I'd like you to keep
a lot of
continuing.
Good I've learned so far.
Continuing. We just finished the Airbnb in Heath, and we just got our first rental today. So that's great news there. It's actually a guy I went to high school with, Seth Kaiser. Shout out.
How long is it for?
I think like 15 days. It's like $2,300, so that would be more than what we'd get.
Yeah, that's already double, or that's half.
Well, that's more than what we'd get if it was a regular fix-up. We get $2,000 in 15 days.
So like half the month, it's already double, pretty much.
Half the month, Yes, that's positive. And then obviously we have these big projects. But for me, the next step in my career is to scale. And then, I'll be building a team, and then I will be advised with coaches and groups on that because I want to build it right. I want to make sure I know what the hell I'm doing. You're using other people's money, like that's serious. So we do know what we're doing, but I'd like to get these rolling, start getting them rented, and then I'll start focusing on that. So that'll be the next thing. And once I can really scale that up, I mean, we can make money on the construction and, you know, be a fully integrated real estate development team. And it could be super powerful. I mean, it's going to be really exciting. And so we'll see. And then maybe in the future, we can have some ventures, and then we'll see. So, you know, you did what you did at CMEX. Talk a little bit about your investments.
You know, I think for your viewers, it's important that, you know, they get into real estate and they get into the stock market because those are the two channels that you can create generational wealth.
Right.
Unfortunately, for some reason, most of America is not involved in the stock market or in real estate. And if they are involved in real estate, it's just I own my home and that's it.
Right.
Right. So I think that's super important. Most people are not business owners. They're working for somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this illusion that you cannot create generational wealth or you cannot be a millionaire, you know, by working for somebody. But the reality is, if you're saving and you're frugal, which we were at the early...
It takes discipline.
And discipline.
Yep. You can't be blowing your money on dumb stuff, toys, trying to look rich, wearing Louis Vuitton and stuff, when you don't have any assets yet, you know?
Right. And if you're slowly pouring money into the assets, eventually, like, there's been years that I make more money from the stock market than what I do for Cemex, right?
For sure.
And real estate right now, the payback that I get is higher than what I'm making at Cemex, right? I'm at Cemex because I love what I do. I love being a CEO of a building materials company. I love, you know, taking challenges. Right. But the reality is, little by little, I've been able to invest in properties, invest in the stock market, learn from them. Right. You know, we didn't have older brothers growing up. We didn't have mentors that grabbed you from an early age. It was more after becoming a professional that you started learning about these things. So anybody can do it. If we look at compound interest, right? And you grab a calculator and you put in, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000, and every month you say, you know what, I'm going to cut my expenditures by $500, and I'm going to just put that on the S&P 500. And I'm not going to look at it, just put in there. By the time you reach retirement, you will have way more than $1 million saved up.
Right. And for the viewers that are very, very new and raw, S&P 500 is something you can put money in. It's like Fortune 500 companies, 500 on average over the last 30 years, what, does 10%?
Yeah, it's about 9% returns on average. I mean, it's probably skewed now because the last 2 years have been
crazy,
you know, over 20%. Yep. But at the end of the day, if you're compounding your wealth by 9% yearly, it's about 6.7 years, something like that, where you're doubling your money. That's the power of compound. Get involved in the stock market as early as possible. You know, look into buying your property. At the end of the day, mortgages sometimes are cheaper than paying rent, right?
Right, and I've done a lot of videos on that. So a lot of that new stuff we're doing, you know, we do these skits, and by the way, shout out to the comments. Appreciate those because it's driving my views. And so we'll do reaction videos, and, you know, if there's one, she used to be on some sitcom, and she's talking about renting, and she loves renting now. She had a bad experience with buying a house because she bought it for $900, then she sold it for $880. So she actually lost money, and then she had to do some maintenance in the meantime, and she likes just one phone call to be able to call and have it fixed. But in reality, get people that know what they're doing, like us, or realtors, or there's people out there. Learn from them, have them help you, get mentored. You know, all you do, you make a phone call to fix something in your house, or you make a phone call to have someone fix something in a rental where someone else is doing it.
At the end of the day, you will always find a bad experience on anything. You can look up your best favorite restaurant, 5-star, Michelin star, and you will find a negative review, like somebody that didn't have a good experience. But that doesn't mean it's the overwhelming, right?
It's not always peaches and cream, but you have to do it.
You have to do it.
You have to do it.
So that's, you know, what you're going to be providing for your audience, you know, the coaching courses, and then possibly opportunities to invest with you. Right. I think those are golden opportunities to learn from somebody that's already successful in doing it.
Right. And we are doing it, and I'll always do it because why not? I mean, why would I ever stop? Some of these coaches, they end up stop doing what they're doing because coaching is so profitable. But, you know, just I love it, first of all, and why stop creating assets? I mean, assets, that's what, you know, it's gives you freedom.
And it's a way of giving back as well.
Yeah, it's a way of giving back.
As a coach.
So I'm real excited about that because I love coaching. I mean, I coached him through every sport for it up until 6th grade. I had a passion for it. I kind of found out I had a little something that make people believe, make people believe we can win. And I didn't know I had that until we did it. And we started beating teams we had no business winning. Like we'd never beat him before. I got in the dugout. So anyway, that's just a little part to it. But I can hopefully help people believe that they can, go out and do this themselves, because it's not rocket science. We're doing it. I can teach you. But half the battle is here and knowing what to do, which is just investing. Saving money, investing in the right deals. Saving money, investing in the right deals. It's not that hard. We're doing it. We can help you. So that's valuable in itself right there.
And then let's say as an executive, because I'm overseas, I have to have my investment portfolio in real estate to be a little bit kind of like automated, where I don't have to do, so I don't do Airbnb,
right,
which can provide you bigger returns. But all the properties I've bought, it's like I have a goal, like every 4 years, I need to have another property.
Sure.
Because every month I'm investing in the stock market.
Yeah.
So I don't want my stock portfolio to be more than 50% of my total portfolio. So I have to, every 4 years, put in a new property in place. And the first two properties, I bought, they're already over 100% gain in value. So
right,
they've doubled up in value. And then the one that I just recently bought, which will be coming to the pipeline Q4 of next year, it's already gone up $200,000, and the unit's not even built yet.
Right.
So I only invest in Miami. I'm not against investing somewhere else. I've looked into Texas. I think Texas has tons of opportunity.
Booming.
Blowing up.
So, but because I'm away, it's just easier to have it in the same area, so I can manage it with the same property manager. It's a headache because I'm so far away. If I was in the U.S., then probably my game plan will be a little bit different. But the point here for your audience is that they can do the same at a smaller scale and just start little.
I started little.
And you just start building it up.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, I started with single family house, and I did my first one. I was out there swinging hammer. I did a lot of the labor, but that also helped me learn what it's all about. I learned construction, and then I rented it. I actually got more than what I thought. And then I was in the game, and then I started going 50-50 with Garrett on all these different houses and learned a lot that way. But the key is starting small. Then we got into self-storage. Now we're getting into apartments. Now we're going to get into flex. And then as you build your experience, you can grow and diversify. So yeah, coaching groups, it's a no-brainer. But another thing is social media. So we started doing that. It's super powerful. I mean, that's what this is all about. Networking. Your net worth is your network. And so that's why we're doing this. But we also want to document the journey. I kind of called my shot. I said I'm going from 10 mil to 100 mil net worth over the next 8 years. And I think it'd be cool to actually document that and show how it's done. And it'd be a cool story. And so if it doesn't happen, who cares? I mean, I'm trying, that's all you can do.
If you fall short, you will still be super successful.
Right. Because it gives you something to gun for. So
you're gonna tell your fan base like, oh, sorry, I didn't get to 100. I got to 80 million.
I don't think
from 10.
anyone's,
Like
no one's gonna give a
It's a great project.
At the end of the day, you are providing value to everyone, and you're doing it for the right reasons, and that is to just provide as much value to the audience and help other people do what you want to do.
And to document a cool story, too. I mean, I think it's going to help people believe they can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Why not? You know what I mean?
Because they're seeing you go through all the different things,
and then
they're like,
as I go through it, I can take people with me, and they can invest in deals. They can get value from coaching in groups, and then they can start doing this themselves. It'll be a community. There's tons of people out there doing it, and it's exciting. The future is exciting. So goals for, this next year, the next 10 years, let's say. So obviously, I'm trying to go from net worth of 10 mil, and I'm not shy about talking about it because I'm just truthful. I'm just honest. It's not being cocky. I'm trying to go from 10 to 100 mil. Hopefully, I'll be at 15 towards the end of next year. Then the race is on. So as I scale and build the development team, I think that's how I'm going to get there. But we talked about getting private equity companies. I want to definitely get into that as well. We already have multiple companies, but getting into bigger companies that you can buy distressed and then turn them around and maybe flip them after 4 or 5 years and then start doing that. That could be a big part of getting to 100 million. That's going to be the key, actually. The development team, that's going to be huge as well, but I think private equity is going to be what takes it over the top. So go ahead and talk about your guys' goals for the next year and the next 10 years.
For the next year, my goals are simply to just keep growing as a person every single day and keep developing the skills that I can develop without actually going out and doing stuff like you internally, and just like keep growing every single day, keep learning more stuff. And I'm really into fitness, and I think I want to get into the coaching side of things. Like you said, you paid someone to help you learn more about business. This would be like a mindset type of thing, taking people from wherever this body to where they want to go, and also teaching them mindset things, habits. Let's see, like for instance, this doesn't seem like a lot, but just making your bed every morning and just like having that as something you just do and get it out of the way, like you just do it.
Little wins throughout the day, they compound.
Little wins throughout the day, and my thing is like, you have to win the day, not like the week. Like I like to think about living in the present moment and just focus on that. Obviously, you have to think in the future about obviously certain things, but winning each day, becoming the best person I can be all around, and start getting some clients and start just kind of getting out there. And I think that I love that side of things. I love fitness. I love helping people. I've already been doing it for free for a couple other people, and I actually get a lot of fulfillment from it. And that's also very important in life too. You have to like enjoy it. Probably the thing I love most in life is the gym and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think it'd be good if I could help people and kind of have that integrated within the same like thing and make money from it.
Yeah. And then if you could reach one of your goals as well, which was to do your first property this next year, I mean, that would be, if you could figure that out, because like we said, real estate's a long-term game. If you could get in the game that young, you'd be way ahead of where we started. So just keep that in mind as well. And don't forget about that goal, because that's huge.
Well, I think he's already way ahead of us.
I definitely didn't forget about it.
Where I wish I was having these type of thinking, at his age, playing Madden and video games and, just
girls,
just parties and stuff like that. So I think I'm super proud of, what you've done already. And you have a super bright future.
I appreciate it.
And you already have the work ethic. We've been partying this Michigan weekend.
Yeah.
And Brian's like just with us the whole time, whether we were going to bed at 12 or 1, and then at 6 in the morning, I see him on the treadmill. I'm like, wow, that's discipline, that's dedication. So when you have that, you can be very, very successful.
Right. And that comes down to the habits that I was talking about. Like, honestly, it's kind of just like a habit for me now. And I think that like I can help other people create that habit, create those healthy habits that expedite them as a person in whatever they want to get better at. And I think that I can definitely help people do that.
That's awesome.
Okay, so goals for you.
For me, this question will be better answered probably a little bit next year, right? Because there's still some uncertainty in terms of what I'm doing and with the company that I represent. But I would say, in general, my goal is always the same. It's, increase my net worth through investment, whether it be in the stock market or whether it be in real estate. So I have that new property coming into pipeline next year. And then in real estate, I'm trying to position myself for a potential correction. I mean, everybody's euphoric right now. I mean, 2 years back to back, where the stock market is giving over 20% returns.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. There has to, even if it's short-lived, maybe it's a short-lived correction, but I want to take advantage of that, right? Because you do want to buy when everybody is selling, when everybody has fear. That's where the best opportunities come. During COVID in 2020, I took a plane, flew to Miami, closed a house, closed it at 2.76, fixed interest over 30 years, right?
So very smart.
So that's lower than inflation. So it's kind of like free money.
Yeah.
So you got to take advantage of those type of situations that happen in life, which are very few. Right? They don't come along so many years. They're going to, so you want to be well positioned. So I think I want to position my portfolio for next year to try to take advantage of a correction, whether that be 10%, 15%. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't have a crystal ball, but something has to give eventually. And then I think we're off to the races because I'm very bullish on the U.S. economy. So I just think right now it's a little overheated. And then a piece of advice, I'm a firm believer in karma. I believe you do good, good comes to you.
100%.
That's the motto that I live by. And human nature is always to focus on the negatives. We're very easily focused on problems, right? Instead of all the good stuff that happens to us. So this happens in the companies that I operate in. I have this rule where, you want to have more positive to negative emotions. You want
Yeah.
to create more positive to negative emotions because one, the ratios are so, leaning towards the negative side. So for every negative emotion you cause to somebody at the workplace, you need 3 positive emotions to just balance it out.
Yeah.
Just balance it out, right? In a friendship, it's 1 to 7. If I cause Brian a negative emotion, I need 7, to kind of even it out. And your
Right.
best friends, that ratio is out of whack towards the positive side,
Definitely.
right? And then in a relationship, is 1 to 11, right?
Wow.
So when you screw up with Elizabeth, you have 11, baby, your hair looks great, baby, the food is great, baby, you have to make it up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we don't focus on that enough.
You can lose track. Yeah, you can
We
lose
track of it, especially when it comes to business, in our companies, within our circle of trust. So be positive, manifest your success,
Yeah.
and be
Manifest it.
dedicated and have a game plan.
And believe-
if you do that, man,
Believe in
you'll be
yourself.
successful.
Sky's the limit.
Believe in yourself and put the work in, and use people that have been there. If you have to pay for it, so be it. It's worth it usually. Put the work in and just know you're going to have to work harder than everyone for a while. And then it starts getting a little bit easier, but still, you got to have that work ethic to where you can turn it on and you can get through something that's hard, which happens a lot. It happens a lot. Companies owe you money and you're going to lose sleep. Like, it's not easy. This is not for everyone. Being an entrepreneur, making money, being in real estate, having companies, it's not for everyone. It is tough. It's stressful. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to feel like quitting. You just can't quit. There's no turning around. Once you start, one thing we didn't talk about, we got to talk about real quick, is crypto. So more bullish than ever with crypto. So I just bought another Bitcoin at 94,000, which, oh my God. Feel like I got punched in the stomach, but I really think because of this halving every 4 years, by next year, 18 to 24 months, it's going to be worth 2 to 3x of where it is right now, which would be 2 to 300,000, what I think. So that's the game plan for me. So I'm actually going to sell it. Whenever I think it peaks, I'm going to sell about half and try to compound it. Some things, eventually it's going to be worth $1 million a coin. Some things up to 13 million a coin. Whatever, that's crazy, but I'm bullish as hell on it. Obviously, I take some chances and I can, So we'll see what happens. But Brian was able to buy some Bitcoin and he's doing very well with that. As long as he stays long term, he'll be fine. I think he's going to maybe sell some and try to compound it because the first cycle we didn't sell any. So we saw that, we're like, oh God, it went all the way down again. So going through that and knowing it is going to happen again, we're going to try to capitalize on that a little bit. So what's your 2 cents? It's going to be quick.
Yeah, so I agree with the sentiment. I think I'm also very bullish on it. I don't know about the 13 million, but at least reaching the market cap of gold, which would put a coin closer between 850 to 900,000. I think that's very doable by 2030. And I recommend this to all my friends. Allocate 3 to 5% of your portfolio to Bitcoin. And I'd rather say Bitcoin than crypto because there's so many crypto coins and a lot of them are BS, right? So put 3 to 5%. If it goes to 0, it's not going to change your life or your portfolio. But if it hits $1 million,
it will.
It will change it.
Game-changing.
It would change it. So allocate it. I'm very bullish. I agree. The next peak will probably come sometime next year, and then there should be some type of correction.
There's going to be a correction, which we're going to try to capitalize on this time.
So if you're not active in trading or doing swing trades, my recommendation is just buy and hold. Then when it drops, just buy a little bit more and just have that strategy, which is good enough. If you really want to compound your earnings, then you try to sell,
some
a part of it, maybe 20, 30, you shave it off. And then with that money, you'll be able to buy more when it comes down. But
that's a little more risky. You got to be, it's more advanced. Well, that's why we didn't do it the first time.
And Warren Buffett doesn't recommend it. He says it's better to have time in the market than to time the market. But anyways, it's just 2 different strategies. My recommendation for the average person is just buy and hold. Then if it dips, just buy a little more.
Yep. So we're running out of time here, but yeah, man, we've been best friends for 24 years and couldn't ask for anything more. It's been, what a journey, what a ride. Married sisters, raising families together. I mean,
pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. And Godfather, you've done a lot for him. And
he's my godfather. He's
I couldn't be
out
more.
to Dubai a couple times. He's taken me to the World Cup. He's taken me to all the crazy shit Dubai has to offer, all the biggest, baddest. He took me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that 100%.
Couldn't ask for anything more.
Just on this trip alone, I've learned, I think, more about business and systems and all this different stuff than I've learned in a long time. And yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everything you've done for me, everything you bring around. It's everything that's
And
great.
I'm looking forward to being, a part of your kids' futures as well. Hopefully someday I can help them invest and just grow as humans and help them believe too, and just be there for them any way I can, help them learn from my experiences. And it's super exciting. They're both really special to me. The future is bright. So cheers. Here we continue the journey. And the next time you come in town, you're getting on this again. Hopefully it will be like episode 150. The future is bright. Cheers to hopefully doing business together and then, taking over in the market. So that's the plan.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, and you guys know I love you very much. So
yeah.
thank you
Love
for
you
the
too.
kind words.
Yep.
Let's go.
So with that being said, we're going to wrap this episode up. This was a fabulous
Banger.
episode.
This was a banger.
God, I don't know how long this was. An hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. I don't know. It's getting up there. But we could just talk forever. So we could potentially do one remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll maybe do it another like 4 or 6 months, something like that. Because this is valuable stuff, guys. Valuable stuff. And then we can kind of update everything that's going on with him, me, what's going on with your future. If he's doing any more coaching in groups, if I'm actually doing coaching in groups by then. And yeah, I think it's going to be good for the viewers. So stay tuned. This episode 9 started from the bottom. You already know. Yep. All right. Holla back.